Rudi, congratulations on the move to the West Coast Fever. I think a lot of people want to know why you're heading over to the Green Machine, and how did you come to that decision?
So it's a huge move, but something I'm really, really excited for. And I think the biggest draw card for me is just being able to play with two amazing defenders like Courtney Bruce and Sunday. I just think their experience and combination together is going to be something pretty special to be a part of. And to learn from someone like Courtney with so much experience is just going to be unreal. And also being able to practice week in and week out on Janelle Fowler, the best shooter in the league, in the world. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for it. And I think having a new coach like Dan Ryan as well is going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, you've had the opportunity to take on Janelle on the court as an opposition player. So what is that like for an opposition goalkeeper? It must be pretty intense.
Yeah. It's so intense. She's just such a strong shooter. Like the way she's able to hold and use her body is just like phenomenal. So I think being able to practice that on that regularly is going to help my game a lot. And hopefully don't cop too many dirties from her. I don't know if you saw like this year that she gave me the eyes. Yeah.
Does that mean you did your job right though, or?
Oh, I think so. As an offender, you want to get in their heads a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if she thinks so.
Well, you'll have to let us know on that first conversation. Maybe you two should go out for a coffee and chat about it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, I mean, just thinking about you as a netballer, as a person. So obviously Perth, for a lot of people feels like a far away place for the East Coasters, but for you, I've been reading up a little bit. So growing up, you're a bit of a nomad, and Perth might not be the furthest you've ever lived. So tell me a little bit about that and how you got into netball through that way.
Yeah, so 100% was a bit of a gypsy growing up, and still am, I guess, because I've moved around Australia a fair bit too. But for Dad's work when I was growing up, we lived all overseas. So we lived in places like China, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Papua New Guinea, India. Just to name a few, but we'd travel pretty much every year, pick up and move for Dad's job. So I guess for me, like when it comes to netball and changing teams and stuff, like I love meeting new people and starting in a new place and thrive off that kind of thing. So I guess having a childhood like that makes moving a bit further away from the East Coast a bit easier. But when I started year 7, so when my mum and dad, they were in Thailand at the time, they wanted me to go to boarding school. So I went to boarding school from 7 to 12, and that's where I sort of like found my passion for netball. And I just think I played lots of different sports growing up, but the group of girls that I played netball with were just like such a special group, and something that like I got to have like outside of being at school all the time. That's I guess where my sort of passion for it started, and I'm so grateful that I had that amazing opportunity to be able to travel and stuff when I was younger, but also really grateful that I got to be at boarding school and have like consistency and be able to play netball and that kind of thing.
I'm super curious, do you speak other languages, or were you just to and fro from places, in short stints in between Australian living?
Yeah, I probably could say like a handful of like hellos and stuff, but not too much, just because we were chopping and changing so much. I didn't really have too much consistency, but mum and dad lived in Thailand 3 different times. So dad's actually pretty good at Thai, which is cool. But I wish I was able to speak a language other than English, but it was still really cool being able to like learn the different cultures and eat the different foods and I don't know, everything with every country we went to.
Yeah, in terms of the boarding school experience for netball, so, as everyone who's ever played it knows how truly team orientated it is. So how much did that help you as a young person, sort of, without your family? How much did netball help you personally, and I guess also as an athlete as well?
Oh, it helped me so much. Like my netball group, and especially like I had my school netball team and stuff too, but like the club stuff and rep stuff outside of school, it was like my little family, I guess. And the girls I went to boarding school obviously really close with as well, but I guess having that group that I would go to every week and be outside of that boarding school environment was pretty cool. And I think you find that these days too, like being a part of these SSN teams and like the Firebirds for the past 2 years, like those girls are like my sisters, and it's pretty cool how special that relationship can become with a group like that.
Yeah, amazing.
And it helped lots with my family being away, and even to this day, like all my family and stuff are in country Vic and friends and everything back in Melbourne. But I think being in Queensland, like having that netball group, it helps a lot with missing family and stuff. Yeah.
Amazing. And through that time, what positions were you playing? I know a lot of professional athletes sort of come through, and we hear a lot that they might not have been playing in the position they're in. So you're obviously a keeper and a defender, predominantly in the professional world. So what were you in those boarding school years?
Yeah, so it was only, I can't remember how old I was, but I was a shooter up until maybe even like 17, 18, or 17 maybe. So it was a fair chunk of my like netball career was actually like a tall holding shooter.
Love
But
that.
then it was at like an Aussie development camp, I think when I was about 17, maybe 16. I can't get the age right. But one of the coaches came up to me and was like, "Oh, we'd really like to try you in defence. We need more tall, athletic defenders in Australia and that kind of thing. We'd like to develop you into that." And from that point, I made the switch and been a defender ever since. And I love it. Like, I think with shooting comes so much pressure, but with defense, it's just like you just can be a mongrel and leave everything out there. And I don't know, like I like that side of defense for sure.
How much did growing up being a holding shooter help you become a defender? Because we know that there's a few different styles of netball, but in Australia there is a lot of holding shooters. How much has it helped you in terms of getting in their heads and getting those photos like we saw with Fowler?
Yeah, I reckon it's helped so much. Like I know what they want to do. Like I know that if they find my body, that's their space, like in the back space and stuff to get that hold and get that high ball in. And I think it definitely helps with recognizing what their patterns are and what they want to do. And I think the crossover of skills and stuff like that, being able to know what the shooter's doing has helped heaps. I think the biggest part I want to work on is like the moving shooter, because I guess I wasn't one myself. So in defense, getting better at working on a moving shooter, but I think it's helped significantly, which has been pretty cool in making the switch.
Well, just through the signings period, there's a few moving circles that you'll come across in the next year. So that must be an exciting challenge and continued development for you.
100%. No, it'd be really cool. And it's exciting as well to see what Fever does with like the lineups and everything, because I think it'd be pretty cool to have Courtney out front and Sunday in that wing defense position. And even I want to get better and more versatile and be able to play those two positions too. So it'd be cool to see what we can come up with the next season.
I know we're joking about it before, but watch the space for a Rudi Ellis mid-court feed to Fowler this season.
Not sure if that's going to happen, but we'll wait and see.
How many net points do you want?
Yeah, exactly right. Oh, I love that.
Speaking of your development, so obviously in terms of your professional career, people started to take note during your time down in Melbourne with the Fury and the Vixens, and obviously that pathway, the Victorian Fury, a dominant ANL team. But obviously you look at that 2019 premiership photo that you're in, and honestly, it's almost a who's who of Australian Super Netball club at the moment. But what was that like for you? A young Aussie talent, obviously just moved into defence, coming through that kind of pathway, a Victorian pathway that's very respected. So how much did that launch, what you've been able to achieve and what you're going to achieve for the future?
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Sydney. So I went through the New South Wales pathway growing up. And that helped me so much. And I'm still really good friends, with all those girls. But then, coming to Victoria when I moved for uni, and just a change of scenery and stuff, being a part of the Fury and that program was amazing. Like the coach, we first had Lisa and then we had Di Honey, and they're both incredible coaches. Like I think Di Honey would have to be one of my favorite coaches I've had along the way. And that winning that grand final was probably the sickest moment of my netball career so far. And it was only by a point in the end, and then ANL's not really a thing anymore. So I guess we'll remain the reigning champions until further notice. But that was a really special group, and we all clicked so well on court and off court. But pretty grateful to have had that experience with them.
And if I recall correctly, it was Emma Ride turned the ball over, but then I'm pretty sure you were able to turn the ball back as it came down the other end. So, that was in the dying stages, if I'm remembering that correctly. So that must have been pretty surreal to have that sort of impact on a game.
Oh, 100%. And it was like something, I guess, like my physical pressure in the circle was probably one of my strengths, but Di Honey really wanted me to get out and have a crack and contest flying balls. And that's sort of been like my work on for the past few years. But yeah, I hadn't done too many of them. And then in that last moment, I just went out and had a crack. And yeah, it was pretty special. I don't know, it was a weird ball. Like I think I sort of like replayed it a tiny bit and chucked it to Ali Smith and then she got it down. But anyway, I'll take it. But yeah. No, it was a pretty cool moment for sure. It's a huge game.
Yeah, intense. And you know, what did you take away from that? I guess that whole season, obviously, you peaked at the right time and you're able to get that crucial moment in a game. And I think that's what every athlete aspires to do in a grand final is make a moment for themselves. And you know, in that league, you've certainly done that. So, I mean, what did you take away that you'll always hold with you now through that season?
Oh, I think it was just yeah, I guess we put so much emphasis like on our relationships and culture off court that that really helped on court. And that's something that I think I want to keep, yeah, building with in the SSN environment. And I just think, yeah, because we're all such good friends and all really wanted to work hard for each other and have that intensity and stuff at training. That's just something I want to continue to have, yeah, in my career post A&L. But yeah, it was just such a special group. And I think we just kept building. Like, I think, I'm not sure how many games we lost that season, maybe one or two. But yeah, we just didn't let any sort of like upsets get us down. And we just kept building and yeah, came away with the win, which was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously from there, you know, we saw you move up to Queensland and you know, take on a contracted role within the Queensland Firebirds. So, talk to me about how that came about. You know, those discussions. Obviously, you know, the Firebirds traditionally have been, you know, the defending end of that club. There's some legends. So, you know, in terms of that, when you were thinking about going to the Firebirds, how was that all playing on your mind, especially with access potentially to some of those ex legends, and obviously one is in the coaching staff. So what
Yeah.
was that all like for you, that bit of a whirlwind moment?
Oh, it was incredible. Like, I think that's every netballer's dream is to make a team and be in the 10 and contracted. And it was actually at our Vixens end of season like celebration that I got the call. So I was, yeah, had a few drinks and then had the call from the Firebirds and they were like, oh, we're interested in signing you and stuff for next year. We'd like to fly you up. Like, I think it was like 2 days after that call just to come meet everyone, do a session and screening and that kind of thing. So I flew up and met everyone and met Gabby for the first time, and she's an incredible human. So I think meeting the girls and Rose at the time was the coach, and yeah, it was such a like huge day, but amazing day. And I think yeah, I would be silly not to have taken it. But yeah, and then coming into the environment, I remember Lara Dunkley and I moved up together, and yeah, we had Gabby and Romelda meet us at the airport and pick us up. And I just think from the get-go, it was such a beautiful culture with the girls there. They're like one big family. And yeah, to be able to learn from people like Claire, who is a legend herself in the netball world, has been pretty cool. But yeah, it was an amazing 2 years, and I'm sad to be leaving because I'm pretty good friends with all the girls. But I know that, yeah, we'll still be friends, even though I'll be over West. But yes, awesome experience at Firebirds and learnt lots.
And obviously, was it a different pressure for you getting a contract? So, you know, in terms of, you know, coming in as a training partner, there are times, you know, where the pressure might be a little bit off in terms of like you've got the job to do, but, you know, you are still in development. When you have that contract, what's it like for you heading out onto court? You know, obviously initially you had some, you know, some limited moments, but what was that like with that pressure of knowing that maybe you needed to play for another one, or maybe, you know, you had to put your foot down now, or it might be over one day?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I think being a training partner, it's a lot. Like you are so excited to be a part of the team and be training and basically, yeah, getting that full experience of being an elite netballer. But at the same time, you aren't paid as well as a contracted player. So I was at uni, I was working like doing media work and then training. So when I was at Vixens and yeah, was a training partner for 3 years all up. So I think it was definitely challenging, but so worth it in the end. And then getting that contracted spot just means, I guess, that you can channel like more energy in time into the team in your development as a netballer, just because you don't have to work as much, and that kind of like extra stuff that you do. But it's just insane. I don't know, being part of the 10 and stepping out on court for the first time last year, debuting against the Vixens was pretty special, and it's like a moment that you, I guess, never forget. But it is a huge step up, but like an amazing step up, and so worth it if you are in that training partner sort of sphere to keep pushing so that you get in the 10 if you can.
And then for you, when you finally got there, you get to Queensland, you enter the environment, as you said, you got your debut, you end up, building a few caps. So for you, what was the experience about? Was it about solidifying who you were as a netballer, or just finding your feet in terms of a professional as well?
I think, I don't know, like I wanted to get out there and improve myself as a netballer, but I also think it was so good, like these past 2 years, learning what it takes, I guess, as well, in that team environment. Like, it's not just all the stuff that you're doing on court, and your skill development, that kind of thing, but so many factors off the court in terms of like your eating and your nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, everything like that, how professional it really is, and how much those sort of factors impacted. And I learned a lot, I think, going from a training partner role to a contracted 10 player, for the things that you really got to do outside and off the court to be your best on court. Yeah,
and obviously towards the back end there, unfortunately, Tara suffered a season-ending ACL injury, and that is obviously devastating for any playing group when someone goes down, but in that way. But on the other hand, there was a positive to it, that you were able to experience more court time. You're able to get out there and really show the league who you were in probably one of the most interesting periods the Firebirds have had in a number of years, in terms of really pushing for finals at the back half of the season, trying to find a way through. So what was that whirlwind? I'll say that again, because what was that like for you, that injury to that experience?
Oh, it's so hard for Tazi. Like, I think she had a breakout season this year, and she's obviously was our vice captain as well, and I love it a bit. She's one of my closest friends in the team, so I was gutted for her when I found out. I think the whole team was, but yeah, obviously the experience and opportunity that I then got from that was pretty incredible too. But I know she'll be back better and stronger and better than ever. But having that experience and being able to get some solid court time was just like so good for my development. I thought, like, actually being able to be out there and work on my craft, because I think not having A&L and stuff these past 2 years, it's been tricky because we just haven't had much game time really. Like like I got chucked on for a few minutes here and there and stuff before that happened, but I think it's really when you're out there consecutively and consistently is when you sort of start to develop and become a better netballer. So I was really grateful for that opportunity, even though it meant that unfortunately Tazi suffered the ACL.
And in terms of Tara being on the bench for you, was she instrumental, I guess, when you're going out there? Was she sort of helping you out every step of the way? I imagine, we hear those stories often. I imagine she was right there with you, making sure you felt supported during that time.
100%. She's such a good human like that, and such a smart player too. So she'd be helping me with like tactics and advice, and she'd always be building me up. So she was really good support in that regard.
Awesome. And do you think that the time out on court over the last few rounds, do you think that's led to potentially securing a contract over at the West Coast, or has this been on the cards for a bit longer than that might have been led on?
I think definitely getting that exposure and solid court time would help. I think Fever, I don't know when they started to think about me, but it was pretty cool that they reached out, and I'm really, really excited to be a part of their club next year.
Yeah, we touched on it before, but you've got some enormous people around you in terms of defensive netball. Obviously, of confirmed players at the moment, you've got Courtney Bruce. So, what's that like for you to be going to, an Australian Diamond goalkeeper's realm, if you will? I'm assuming to learn lots, but also to get yourself out on court with it.
Yeah, oh, I'm so excited. I think it's going to be the best thing for my development, having that experience out there in front of me. And I think, yeah, being able to learn from her and be able to play with her is just going to, yeah, help my netball so much. And that was a huge draw card, I guess, to heading over to Fever. She seems like an amazing person too. So yeah, pretty keen to be in the team with her. But yeah, should be unreal, I reckon.
What attracted you to the West Coast Fever? I mean, you know, we obviously we don't know what you had in terms of office, but what was it that drew you across to, you know, the West Coast Fever? Clearly a very good team, so there's obviously that. But what was it about their culture or the club or the coaching change that took you there?
Yeah, I think the fact that they are such a successful club and have been for a couple of years now has to be, yeah, because of their amazing culture. And I think they really like to keep the same sort of group as well, which is pretty cool, and be able to just build on that. And I think they're itching to win a grand final, and I really am too. To be part of something that, or the final series, is a dream. So I think that was a huge draw card. But I think, yeah, being able to play with yeah, players like Courtney and practicing on Janelle and having a fresh set of eyes with Dan being our coach is all pretty exciting. And having chats with, yeah, Sue Gordy and initially about coming over was really positive. And I think they're just really keen to work with me and develop me into the player I guess I want to be. So, and I think Tim, like my partner, he's from Perth originally. So his mum and dad and family and brother and stuff are there. So I feel like making the move over there. And I've also got friends that I knew from Melbourne that live there too. So I think that transition hopefully is going to be a bit easier because I've got, yeah, got a bit of a support network there already, which is pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it'd be remiss of me to not ask, but you know, it's a pathway that's being built by Stacey Marinkovic, who is now the Diamonds head coach. So that is clearly a goal of yours to become a Diamond, go to the Com Games, win a World Cup or two.
Yep, 100% the goal. I think definitely win a grand final is number one, and then yeah, see what happens with Diamonds. But I'd love to be involved, yeah, in that one day. And it's been pretty cool this year because yeah, I was selected in the development squad at the end of the season. So lucky for us being based in Queensland, got to do a few Diamond sessions with Stacey and the girls in Queensland a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, it's just once you get a taste for that, it's like, wow, I want to be a part of that properly. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And being coached by Stacey was amazing. She's a, yeah, awesome coach. So it'd be cool to see what happens in the future with her.
Yeah, I was going to ask you and say you were selected in that development side. That's a huge nod for you, and clearly they've got a future for you in terms of Australian representation. So, what will you be doing now over the next 2-3 years to make sure that the next cycle you're well and truly involved? What is it about your game or your life or whatever you need to do that will get you into that realm?
I think technically I need to get my penalty count down. So that's
Yeah.
something I want to be a cleaner defender and be able to just really, yeah, two hands to a ball without without being penalized. But and I think also just having the adaptability to be able to goal defense or wing defense or keeper. I think I definitely want to nail being a keeper first. But yeah, being able to have the versatility across a few positions, I think is something, yeah, I want to work on in the future. Yeah. But I think, yeah, that penalty count's the biggest one I want to get down for next season and just come through with those clean intercepts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you could sum yourself up in 3 words, what would you say? What would you say that you are as an elite athlete in 3 words? What would those be?
Is this like netball related or just life?
Yeah, just as an elite athlete or life or whatever you want to. What is your attitude towards the world and how you see yourself?
I think the 3 words I'd use is hardworking, even though that's 2 words, determined, and loving. I think love's probably one of my biggest values in life. Like I think like having good relationships and yeah, really putting other people first and stuff is something that I try to strive to do and be. But yeah, I think those would be my biggest things, yeah, in life.
I'll add a
Yeah.
hyphen to the hardworking, so it's 1.
Yeah, thank you. No, we could just determined or yeah.